everyone. Welcome to a special edition of the Daily Deuce. I'm Gary Graves from just outside Louisville, Kentucky. In Maryland, we have John Webster, and he has a special guest for tonight. First of all, John, how are you doing?
Gary, I'm doing really good, man. Another great day. Still sports going on, even though we didn't have the even though we didn't have the NCAA tournament during the week. Still watched NIT games last night. So I'm still excited, man. Still excited. Hey, we'd be remiss if we didn't say hello to the producer, the traffic cop, John Pitt.
What's going on, guys? Good to see you again.
Yeah. Sorry, I missed the fun on Monday night and everything. Don't put horns on me, John Pitt. For that. But yeah, it's Final Four week here in Kentucky. Well, at least here in Louisville, because the women's team is the last team standing from the Bluegrass State, and they're about to face the top dog in South Carolina. So that, for me, that means a little extra work. But hey, I love it because that means I'm still writing about something in late March, early April. And John, we've talked about how good women's basketball is and how it's grown over the years. And I don't know if we can really have a better Final Four with 3 number 1 seeds and like a 10-time national champion in the Final Four field. What do you think?
Well, it's going to be interesting, Gary. We'll see what's going to happen. You got UConn, you got Stanford, you got South Carolina, you got Louisville. So we'll see what's going to happen, man. We'll see. And next week when we come back on Monday, we're going to be able to talk really in depth about some women's basketball, man. I can't wait. How about you?
Yeah. I mean, that's true. I think both Final Fours are pretty loaded. I mean, you're talking about on the men's side, like four schools that have won championships, and of course, a blood rivalry between Carolina and Duke. I mean, it's still hard to believe that all these years and all those tournaments that this is the first time they've ever met in the NCAA, and it comes in the Final Four. And it reminds me of a situation before I moved to Kentucky in 2012 when Anthony Davis won. Led Kentucky, that they faced Louisville in the semifinal that year. And I'm telling you, that was when I moved here, that was the only topic that anybody ever really cared about was Louisville going to get them back? And they won the championship the next year, since relinquished. But the NCAA tournament really does bring out some interesting rivalries, I guess, for lack of a better word. I guess you just have teams come together that you just really don't expect, like Maryland and Georgetown when they played a couple times in the tournament. That's the thing. It just helps build the rivalries for down the road, no matter what you say about the committee and the pairings and that kind of thing. But John, I'm gonna throw it to you because we have a special guest that's sitting in the green room, so to speak, waiting to get on the air. And I'm sorry we didn't have any food for you, but hey, we'll make up for it with great conversation.
Hey, thanks, Gary. Tonight I'm happy, man. You know my saying, man. I'm happy as a pig in slop in Salisbury, because tonight we got a special guest on. We have Kenny Avent on here. Kenny Avent, known him since he was a kid. Back in my Spring Hill Lake days of working in recreation, as I say, back when I had hair on my head. And I've watched him grow from Spring Hill Lake all the way to High Point High School to Carolina Wilmington College. And then he played a little ball overseas. And he's been a coach for the last umpteen years. And guess what, Gary? Guess what?
What?
Kenny Avent just won the Group 3 state championship in New Jersey. Just won it.
All right, congratulations.
And was coach of the year. Without further ado, today we're going to talk to the one, the only Kenny Avent. Kenny, thanks for coming on the show today, man.
Hey, I've been blessed, man. First, I just want to thank you guys for having me on the show. It's an honor to come on here. Like you said, I've known you since I was probably about 8 or 9 years old always looked up to you. We were destined to be connected because, as you know, your dad was my elementary school principal. So we've had many conversations over the years about, Mr. Webster and how he conducted shop at Dodge Park Elementary School. So it's a pleasure and an honor. I thank you guys.
Hey man, it's no problem.
Yeah, glad to have you.
Some people tell me I ran Spring Hill Lake the same way he ran Dodge Park. So I don't know. I don't know if that was a compliment or what.
Hey, listen, it was a compliment. And when we were young kids running around Spring Hill Lake, we didn't understand it or probably didn't even really appreciate it. But as we grew into young men, we understood the structure, we understood the discipline, and and you did run it very similar to your dad. The only thing is you never told me to keep my hands off a pocket.
God bless Dad. God bless him. Hey man, but look here. You're coaching, you're doing some really good stuff. I'm going to start off with a question about coaching. Then I'm going to go work my way back to your high school. Why did you get involved in coaching, Kenny? What got you involved in coaching?
What got me involved in coaching is just my love for the game and just me wanting to give back, because I really believe, basketball and sports in general, but specifically basketball because that's my lane. But I think it's the gift that keeps on giving. I love working with young adults. I love mentoring kids. Someone did it for me. You were one of those individuals that were a part of my village that helped me become the man that I've become today. So I just want to give back, and God has blessed me with the opportunity to work with young adults. Man, I don't take that lightly.
You got a motto on your basketball academy website. Every day we get better. Tell me about that, man. What you really just touched on it right there, but tell us a little bit more about that.
Well, every day we get better, man. It's not something that we say, it's something that we mean. And I strive to be a better person tomorrow than I was today. I try to instill in the kids that I coach and the kids that I mentor and that I work with on a daily basis that we want to get better every day. When you go to sleep at night and you close your eyes and the good Lord bless you with the opportunity to wake up and do it again, we should try to do it better than we did the day before. So I just try to instill that into the kids' mindset, and because it's really a mindset.
Hey, Kenny, I guess with every coach, the question for me is always like, what was it? How did it hit you that you wanted to be a coach? And I ask that because there's that saying, some lead and some follow. When did you go from, say, being like, say, the follower to deciding when you wanted to be a leader? I mean, what was it that really snapped in for you?
Well, I think it just goes back to my childhood and growing up playing the game of basketball in the DC area. I think I've always had those leadership qualities in me. I didn't know that it would transition into being a coach when I was younger. I didn't really necessarily see that. But as I got older and as, I stopped playing as much and I started training and working with kids and decided that, I started coaching AAU basketball and I fell in love with coaching. And it also helped me stay close to the game. It helped me stay young. And I know I was fortunate to have a pretty good playing career, but now that I'm coaching, I really feel that I was put here to be a coach and mentor and have impact on young adults' lives from this perspective, far more than I ever have as a ball player. Okay. It just kind of hit me one day, like, oh, this is what I want to do. I love what I do, and been fortunate to be in some good situations.
Any coaches that come to mind that have played a role in your coaching? Do you use any of their philosophies besides Wendell Etheridge?
Hey, that's the first name I was going to say. Wendell aka J.R. Etheridge, my man, my guy. Love that man. He used to pile us up into his Dodge Shadow. We 7 deep, landing there like sardines, man, going all across the DMV area playing in this league, that league, 2 and 3 leagues in one day, Spring Hill Lake. And, he was the first coach that really showed me the love for kids and mentoring, man, because it wasn't as much as we played basketball, it wasn't about basketball. It was about the life lessons that we learned through those trips and those AAU tournaments and traveling all over the country. So, you know, JR was a defensive minded coach. He wanted us to play hard for as long as it was time on the clock. And that mentality and that character in him spilled over into us as young men. And most of the guys that I play with are doing something positive in the game of basketball. And if they're not doing something positive in the game of basketball, they're doing something positive in life. So I thank him from the bottom of my heart. I still talk to JR all the time. I still reach out to him. He calls me. And, you know, anytime I'm interviewing for a job, coaching job, when I'm thinking about different philosophies and things, I always reach out to him, and he always drops jewels and nuggets on me. And like I said, I love JR for that. You know, then, you know, I think about my high school coach, Ernie Welch, legendary coach, man. Whether people know or not, and some people love him, some people hate him. More people hate him than love him. But yeah. Ernie Welch, man, was when it comes to basketball and his philosophy, it was a little different than most coaches, but he was a mad scientist. Like, he understood the science of basketball. And his philosophy, you know, when he would tell you about his different philosophies, it was like he was a scientist. Like, you know, when he explained our press, he explained it like a scientist. When he explained, you know, we're going to lead the area in scoring, and we led the area in scoring for my 4 years and averaged 95, 96 points per game in high school, which is unheard of in a 32-minute game.
Oh,
so,
Gary, did you hear how many points they were averaging in a high school game? 32 minutes. Did you hear?
Yeah,
what he said?
I just heard that. And before I jump off here to go do an interview, I mean, and that's without a 3-point line, right?
No, we had a 3-point line.
Just started. Just started.
Oh, okay.
But the thing is, you know, when you hear that a team is averaging 90-some points a game in high school, people probably think that, oh man, they running and gunning. Those 90-some points per game were generated off of our defensive pressure, our defensive intensity. You know, our full court press. We ran a 2-2-1 full court press, and man, we would score 30, 40 points in a quarter sometimes. And unlike some of these young players nowadays that when they score a basket, they're celebrating and they throwing up shotgun symbols and all kinds of things. We weren't celebrating. One, my coach didn't allow us to because we had that type of discipline. But once that ball went to the basket, we were sprinting to our spot on the press. So I don't know if it was just, you know, so disciplined and we was excited to get to our spot to create another turnover to try to get another bucket. So maybe it was some of that mad scientist and maybe it was a Jedi mind trick that Coach Welch played on us, man. But he had us locked in.
Yeah. Well, Kenny, hey, listen, I'm going to have to get ready to go. John, thanks a lot. Kenny, it's been a pleasure meeting you. I'm going to definitely watch the rest of this, but duty calls. Hopefully we can do this again some other time, okay?
Thank you, man. I appreciate you having me on, and it was a pleasure meeting you as well.
All right. Hey, take care. God bless. John, I'll holler at you later.
Take care, Gary. 4 years at High Point. Played varsity basketball from 9th grade to 12th grade, Pitt. 4 league championships, 3 regional championships, and a state championship. That's absolutely unbelievable. A great high school career. Don't let me forget, 2-time All-Met, 2-time All-State, Prince George's County, all county, PG Journal, all county. You know, just the things go on and on as far as what you did in high school, Kenny. You were unbelievable, and I got a chance to actually see a lot of your games. I know they called you the main event because it was for show on a Friday night in High Point. It was for show, the main event. Everybody wanted to get down there. It was standing room only down at High Point. And I'll say this about Ernie Welch. You're right. You either love him or you hate him. He did a great job as a coach, and he was an innovator, man. I remember I was in 11th grade, and he was over at Bladensburg, and he came up with something. Everybody thought he was crazy. He had Thoroughbelly starting the center. He decided he was going to go with 4 guards, and the tallest one was 5'10". And they won the county championship and still got to the state tournament. You know, only Ernie Welch would come up with something like that. Only Ernie Welch. But Great coach, man. And talk about, playing over there. Well, you told about the discipline. What were some of the games that you remember in high school playing over High Point?
Well, I mean, you can't talk about High Point high school basketball and not talk about the rivalry with Northwestern. When Northwestern was our arch rival, I was fortunate enough to never lose to Northwestern in my high school career, which is incredible given the talent that they had over there. But it was such a rival. But Northwestern, those games were one of those games that if you did not get to that gym by the first quarter of the JV game, you were not getting in the gym. And at High Point and Northwestern, they were like little mini windows up in the ceiling. And you literally would look up and see people on the roof looking through the windows at those games, man. So every game we played against Northwestern was a memorable game. We had some very memorable games with Largo, very talented program. I mean, back then, the Prince George's County 4A was the best league in the state for sure.
There was a coach over there. What was his name? Lou Wilson? Is that the guy?
Lou Wilson. Lou Wilson. I know Lou Wilson well. Matter of fact, my senior year, I played for Lou and Mr. Bates with Executive 3. So I know Lou very well, man. Lou is another great coach, another great basketball mind. But we had some wars, especially my senior year, because all year long we were 1 and 2 in the county, and we both were top 5 in the Washington Post. So every time we played them, we had some dog fights, man. And, and then probably the most memorable moment was my junior year when we actually won the state title. No one really expected us to be as good as we were. We only had 2 seniors on the team that year. Actually, we had 3 seniors, but Kevin Martin, one of our seniors, our big man, went down in the Christmas tournament against Crossland, who everybody was really picking to win it that year. They had Wayne Houston, they had Kenny Franklin, they had my college teammate Lamont Franklin at the point guard, and they Rashawn Hargrove. They were loaded, and we were young because even though I had played varsity for 2 years and Sherwin Devenish had played varsity for 2 years, all those other guys were JV guys the year before, and so we won a Christmas tournament that we actually beat Crossland in the Christmas tournament, and we saw them again in the state semifinals. The first time we played them, it was a close game. And that was kind of our coming of age moment. And, we developed a lot of confidence coming out of that game. And we just kind of ran through the 4A. And then we saw them in the semifinals at Cole. We actually beat them by 20. So it was a different ball game by then. We had really matured. But that was probably my most memorable moment, outside of, being a freshman, being on the varsity, and we lost in the state finals my freshman year. I think you and I had that conversation. You were actually at that game, and so that was definitely a memorable moment. It wasn't a moment where we won the game, but it's still memorable in a lot of ways.
I'll just say this for you, and I know that game was rough. You all came, I guess, 3 or 4 points short. To this day, people are still talking about that game, Kenny. To this day, I heard a couple of older guys last week ask me if I knew anything about High Point and the Annapolis game. Like I don't know. But I said, well, tell me about it. And they started telling me about it and everything. But you guys, like I said, y'all were must see TV. You had to be there. You had to see it. It was unbelievable, man. But that leads us back into your coaching component, man. And you mentioned like JR, how he's done things for you, Ernie Welch, and as a coach, what things, what are the behind the scenes things that you have to do to make everything successful? What do you have to do behind the scenes to make everything successful that people don't see you do?
Oh man, there's so many things that go on behind the scenes. There's practice planning. You got to be organized and practice plan and, try to come up with a game plan every day to, get your kids ready to go to war 2-3 times a week. The scouting other teams, going out and scouting and watching game film, hours upon hours go into that. And, at the end of the day, success doesn't sleep. If you want to be successful in this game as a coach, it's no different than as a player. In order to be a good player, I had to put time in. I had to put hours in working on my skill set. Going back to JR, I remember when I was 10 years old, he told me you need to develop a left hand. I spent the whole summer dribbling everywhere I went. I dribble the ball with my left hand. Everywhere I went, I'm up under the basket, using that left hand, developing my left hand. I had to put the time and the hours in. So in order to be a good coach, I have to put that time in scouting other teams and coming up with a game plan to put my guys in the best possible position to be successful. Because at the end of the day, you can't go into a gunfight with no bullets.
Yeah, you're right.
You can't
You're
go
right.
into a gunfight with no bullets. So, the biggest thing is just scouting, game planning, and just trying to do everything in your power as a coach to put your kids in the best possible position to be successful.
And this year was your first year at Woodrow Wilson, in New Jersey. Is that in Camden, New Jersey? Is that Camden?
It is. It is.
Okay. And you're Group 3 state champion this year, and you're coach of the year this year, all in your first year at Woodrow Wilson. And also, if I'm not mistaken, Woodrow Wilson had not even made the playoffs for like the last 10 or 15 years, right? Until you got there, right?
Woodrow Wilson, prior to this season, coming into the season, had only won 10 of their last 100 games.
Say that again. Say that again. What?
10 of their last 100 games.
Goodness gracious.
They had won 4 games last year, and in the last 9 years, Woodrow Wilson was 28 and 174.
And in 1 year, you were able to turn this thing around and get a state championship and have these kids turn their attitude. Did you have a lot of players come back from the team last year?
There were a few players. There were some new guys that came out. It's just one of those things. When I got the job, the first thing I told the kids is, I need a mind shift. I need you to change the way you think. I need you to change the way you look at the game of basketball. I need you to change the way you compete. And I wasn't just talking about on the basketball court. I was talking about how you compete in the classroom as a student, how you compete at home as a young man to your mom and your dad, and how you do your chores around the house. I need a complete mind shift. I need you to do everything like a winner. I need you to conduct yourself and do everything like a champion. And, I told those kids, man, when the season started, we had some kids that were ineligible. We had some kids that hadn't had their physical and things like that. And so we only had like 4 guys in the gym in the beginning of the year. And I looked at those 4 guys and I said, I don't care what it looks like. I don't care what you see around you. We're going to be Group 3 state champions. And I know they probably thought I was crazy at the time, but I knew the talent that those kids had in them. And I knew what we had coming once we could put it all together. And, it all came together at the right time. It's kind of like the perfect storm.
Wow. And then I see that motto with what we talked about early. Every day we get better, because you told them they were going to be a state champion. 4 kids coming back from a team that over the years had lost over 100 games. I take my hat off to you, sir. You did a great job with them, man. Great job. What do you got coming back next year with Woodrow Wilson? How you looking next year?
We got some talent that's going to be there next year. I tell people, man, when you're trying to build a program, and I think we've done a great job marketing the program. So you got kids that now want to come and play for Woodrow Wilson, that want to come to the school. And when you're building the program, you want to get your program to the point where you're not rebuilding from year to year, that you're reloading. And I believe that with the success we had and what we'll have coming in the next year, that we won't be rebuilding, we'll be reloading, and we'll be right back at it again next year, competing for another championship.
That's great, man. That's really good, man. Let me ask you this. You're going to reload. You're not going to rebuild. What do you see as a key to that? What's going to be a key to get you to next year to be what you were this year? What's going to be a key to that?
I think the biggest key is, and something that I didn't have last year, is to have time with the kids in the off season.
Okay.
In the summertime, in the weight room, in the gym, getting better. Championships are won in the off season. Players are made in the off season. And because of how the hiring process went, we don't have enough time to get into that. But I didn't have that time with those kids this year. So okay. I think that's going to be the biggest key moving forward, to be able to have that time with them, to be able to continue to build the relationship and the trust factor. Because, in order to be successful, I got to trust my guys on the court that they're going to do what I ask them to do, that they're going to play disciplined brand of basketball. But they have to trust me as a coach that I know what I'm doing and I have their best interests at heart, and I'm going to do my best to put them in the best possible position to be successful.
You know, you bring up all those things and helping them be successful and everything. Are there some memorable moments from this season you want to talk about, or you rather hold off to those until you retire? There's some memorable moments with these kids that you want to share?
Well, I think the turning point for us was the very first game of the season. We're playing Egg Harbor Township. I think that was the turning point because, we had been practicing. I only had 7 kids in uniform. And, even though you tell the kids, oh, we're going to be successful, they still have to learn how to win. So Egg Harbor was ranked number 3 in South Jersey. They was ranked, I believe, top 10 in the state at the time. And so we come out and Egg Harbor jumps all on us. At the end of the first quarter, we're down 25-5. And I can see in some of those kids' eyes like, oh, here we go again. This is just Woodrow Wilson basketball. This is just another coach telling us that we can do it. We the little engine that thought he could. But I kept pouring into those kids and telling them, I said, look, it's a game of runs. It's a game of runs. They went on a big run on us. Now we have to go on our run, and we have to shorten their run and lengthen our run. And I said, we got to cut this thing in half by halftime. And so we started playing defense the way that we were capable of. Next thing you know, halftime is 25-35. Then we come out second half. I said, listen, we got to cut this first 3 or 4 minutes. We got to cut it in half again, cut it to 5. And we started playing mini games within the game. And, we started getting some stops. And next thing you know, in the fourth quarter, we up 8 with 3 minutes to go. And had there been a couple of calls go a different way, had my kids been a little patient and understand time and score, we come out of there with that win. And no one expected that from us. But even though we didn't win the game, it was a teachable moment. And it was a light bulb moment for us, for myself and my staff, and for those kids to understand that, you know what, maybe we can do this. We playing the number 3 team in South Jersey, top 10 in the state. We were down 20 points in the first quarter and came back and was up 8 with 3 minutes to go. And we just didn't learn how to win yet. And after that game, we went on like a 7-game winning streak. We, at that point, I think they had ranked us top. We were ranked 5th in South Jersey. So we kind of came from out of nowhere. And but that was a key moment for us. Even though we lost that first game of the season, the kids learned that the ability that they have, and that I truly trusted and believed in them. And I think that went a long way for me being their new head coach, for them trusting and believing in me.
Very good. For those that don't know you, they may think you had success here, and this is your first successful stint as a coach. But I know you. I mean, you've been at Woodbury High School, you had success. Was it Del Castle, Votech, and had success? Let's talk about those a little bit, man. How did it go with those? One of those schools, I think you got them to the state semifinals, right?
So when I first moved to Jersey from the DC area, I went over to Woodbury, and I coached the girls my first 2 years. First year as a girls coach, we tripled the win total from the year before. And those kids played a different brand of basketball. I was fortunate enough to get the boys after my second year coaching the girls, and my first year coaching the boys at Woodbury. We went 25-4 and lost in the state semifinals. My second year, we duplicated that. We won another South Jersey title and lost in the state finals at Rutgers. So my first 2 years with the boys, we were 50-10, and we went to South Jersey finals 3 out of the first 4 years we were there. In 2014, I went to Del Castle, and they had made the playoffs in like 5 years. My first year there, we were able to make the playoffs. We were able to crack the top 20, top 15 in the state. Lost in the second round to the number 2 seed, but the very next year, we lost in the state semifinals, finished top 4 in the state. The crazy thing is that, ball is life. I love the game, and I had an opportunity. I was actually coaching a semi-professional team in the American Professional Basketball League, the New Jersey Thunder, simultaneously while I was coaching Del Castle. So by day, I was coaching Del Castle. By night, I was coaching the New Jersey Thunder. And in the APBL, we won back-to-back championships in the APBL. We went undefeated my first year. I got coach of the year. And my second year, we lost 2 games. Just an incredible run. 2016, I had another tremendous opportunity to go to Guyana, South America, got my FIBA license, and was able to coach the Guyanese under 16 national team to their first ever silver medal and second place finish in the history of the country. And for me, I think that was one of my most memorable coaching jobs because, Guyana is a third world country. Those kids didn't have a lot. And to be honest with you, when I first started working with them, the talent just wasn't there. But over a period of time and pouring into those kids, and they worked hard, we were able to make it to the championship game. We lost to the Bahamas, who had a really talented team in the Caribbean Confederation Championships. And us finishing top 3 in that tournament qualified us for the next round, which was the following year, 17 under in the Dominican Republic. So I've had some great opportunities to coach the game of basketball. And the Bible said, he'll make room for your gifts. And, I tell people always ask me, how do you get your kids to play hard all the time? How are you able to be successful wherever you go? And I tell anybody, I don't take credit for it. God has just blessed me with the ability to motivate young adults. And it's a gift. It's a gift, man. And that's why I don't take the opportunity to work with young adults lightly. It's a serious, it's say to he who much is given, much is required. So I'm ball is life. Ball is life. I love what I do. I love what I do.
Man, well, I tell you, this has been an absolute pleasure and an honor for me. This is a fast moving 25 or 30 minutes, like I tell people all the time, Kenny. Doggone, I tell you, man, I could talk to you all day and all night. I'm just so proud of you and the job that you've done and you're doing. You're not just a coach, you're an educator. And you're teaching these kids how to be young men and young women. And God bless you for that. You are an absolute godsend to all of those kids. And it's great how you've taken the great things of Ernie Welch, the great things of Wendell Etheridge, and incorporated into your program to help you become very successful, man. Hey, I ain't got nothing but love for you. People, ladies and gentlemen, we just had a great interview with Kenny, the main event, Avent. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching our show. Kenny, continue to have a great season. Best of luck to you. Everybody, watch some sports this week, and we'll be back to see you next week. Take care.
Thanks for having me.